Hello, my name is Tobias Kaljukulju and welcome to my living room. Today I wanted to take the chance to highlight something I really think will be useful for people writing game music in Reaper and especially if you're into like adaptive or interactive music. A friend and colleague of mine, Jacob Westberg, also known as Mount West Music, recently released an extension for Reaper to the Repack Package Manager. Repack Package Manager. It's a real tongue twister. And the extension or the software is called AMAPP. AMAPP is designed to make working with layered adaptive music way more manageable. Because if you think about it, our DAWs are linear by nature. And if you have a project that grows with a lot of like different adaptive layers, vertical, horizontal, transitions, different states, it can get really messy really fast if you're not structured. Just keeping track of what sound files should be where, should be played where, and like what should be exported with what to make sense in the audio middleware later, it can really take a ton of time if you are not prepared for it. AMAPP basically organizes your music into clusters, and these clusters make it easy to audition different combinations of layers to make sure that you know what every layer, how it sounds and what should be there. And also, of course, exporting it into separate stems with the right naming convention and all, really easy with the press of a button. So instead of wrestling with project structure and logistics, you can actually focus on being creative, making music, and trying new ideas for the music. This video is not at all like a feature walkthrough of AMAPP. That's actually something we are in the talks of creating properly later. This is quite the opposite. I simply recorded one of my writing sessions, writing music for a project that I'm working on and using AMAPP for it. Previous to the sessions, I had made like a vibe or palette demo just to find the right vibe for the music. So this session was all about like working further on that, and I had a plan of what I wanted to have done after the session. So it's very like unplanned and a bit chaotic, like jumping between thoughts and ideas. But that's how creative processes are. I had no idea what I was going to write when I sat down, so that's how it goes. When editing, I realized I barely finished my own sentences before jumping on to the next thought or idea. But I decided to keep it like long form and as is. Of course, I like took away dead parts where I just stared silently at the screen for minutes because no one wants to watch that. But otherwise than that, it's pretty much intact from start to finish. So if you're odd like me and you want to like see another person's creative process in a very like weird and slow long form content, this video is right up your alley. I'll add timestamps in the video, like chunking the creative process into small parts, so it's a little bit easier to navigate or skip ahead if you want to do that and not watch the full video. I should say that I got my hands on a pre-release version of AMAPP. I've been hanging around the Discord that you should join, by the way, helping out. So if AMAPP looks a little bit different in the package manager version, that's why. And also, of course, if I talk more about this project that I'm working on in future videos, the music might have changed a lot too. So this is just a small timestamp from this session. And yeah, feel free to leave a comment about the process or music or AMAPP itself. I think it's a really cool software, and I'm just curious what you think about the content or about AMAPP. With that out of the way, here is the full session. Enjoy. I will record the process of writing a little bit for a project that I'm writing music for. And the key here is that I'm going to use AMAPP. The place that I'm at right now is I made like a quick little fast palette demo or just trying something out, and that got kind of approved. So I'm gonna keep writing on this. We'll see how far I get today. I don't have unlimited time, but there is a basically a turn-based combat style game where you prep your attack first in a preparation phase, choose what cards you want to play, and then when you play them, you go into this, execution phase, and then it becomes basically a rhythm game where you try to, hit the right notes at the right time. So this is the plan I'm working for, basically to try and make this loop today at least. Mid-intensity loop playing while when you are in the preparation phase, a quick transition that gets up and to high intensity and then goes down after the execution phase. And we'll see. I'm going to use AMAPP to sort these layers, and this is the music that I wrote. This is where we're at in the project right now. So the thematics is basically, I listen to a lot of like Tibetan folk music, and there's a lot of different influences from around the world in this, and it's not supposed to be like a completely accurate folk music depiction. It's more like the world has ended and there's like this combination of nature and folk traditions blending with, analog synths. What if you were in the wasteland and you found analog synths? So that's kind of the vibe we're going for here. And I have no idea what I'm going to do today, so let's find out together. So let's start with opening AMAPP. Okay, so if we look at this plan, I think that there are parts of this that should be in the high intensity and parts should be in the low intensity or mid intensity. It's kind of both right now, and I want to really make a difference for when you're prepping and to give the feeling of, you have time to plan this. You can take your time and prep your actions. And then when it's execution, it's like you should really pay attention now. So let's see what we want to do. Let's do like this. Let's do a cluster and let's name it combat prep phase. And let's say that it's a loop. I will probably write like short parts to find the right vibe and then extend them. So I will probably aim for 8 bars of each today. We'll see where we end up. So let's say that we have the prep phase here. Let's say that let's use this to kind of build out the execution phase, because right now everything is just all over the place in the sense that I did not have a goal when I wrote it last time. And let's add this. We have only the drums right now. If we focus this, we have only the drums right now. And that's good because I kind of want to, make them. A little bit more chill. Really don't when we only do the rim shots of the Taiku, we really don't need the tone. Just gonna muddy everything else. I have this idea that the taikos playing rim shots would be a good thing in the high intensity thing. Let's like add them. But I am not using a mouse right now, and that's going to be perfectly clear. I have mastered the trackpad. It's always so confusing when you change. Cool. What do we have more? We have the... Maybe we can have these as well, but we do the same thing. We take their intensity down a bit. Yeah, maybe. And this one, right. This one I feel is very much, if we focus this, we have the, let's just move this here. And we have, because since it's going to be a rhythm game, I feel like it's good if the rhythm section part of it has like a steady beat that makes it easy to listen to. This is jumping between a little bit just to feel the difference in that sense. I mean, we don't have to take this away, but just for organization purposes, I'm going to take that away. That's pretty nice. We have this melody here. So I'm thinking when I make this longer, there will be room for more. I'm thinking that the execution phase should have this, high. This is pretty high intensity in many ways. And in the prep phase, we could have like fractions of that melody maybe. Bum bum boo 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 ba. Ba da ba da da. And have space in between them to give it a little bit more room. Let's F this up. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit short anyway this time. But I would like to have more space here, even if we have, a shorter version now. It feels a little bit too short to make it justice. So let's give it more space here. Let's move everything away. Let's give this... Yeah, let's just do this. Let's give it double the bars, and we just simply add these as well. But we can't do that, right? Because we need to extend this area. So we just do like this. We just extend it to where we want it. And now we can add these. Bam, bam, bam. Easy as that. And let's just do like this. It's like a long form version. Oh, I can't count. Let's add these. Bam, bam, bam. So if we focus this, we see that we have, oh, we don't have the first one. We could probably add it there, but let's just do it like that. Cool, it works for now. You would want to like add the synth parts of this maybe already. That's pretty nice. Let's add like a... I mean, maybe we can do like, I mean, there are so many different alternatives to layers here. For funsies, I want a pad. Let's duplicate this because I like the... Am I weird for liking that? It's not quite right. It's not doing the chord changes that... I mean, this might not even be the right vibe, but let's do it for now. Let's actually not use this as the main one. I want a more sweeping pad. The fuck? That's kind of magical. It's a really long reverb or release maybe. I haven't used this one so much. it kind of cuts off the release or the like reverby part, but that's kind of good because it doesn't hang too much over the next one. Let's try it. Can you spot the place where I didn't remember that there was a C instead of a B flat? So let's say that we wanted the chord parts to be triggered, you know, not by default. Let's select this. Beep, beep. Pretty nice. So let's go on. Let's presume that this is done. We can move on to the combat phase. Clacker, clacker. I want to double this. Let's make those a little bit more ghosty. That's pretty nice. This will have a hard time being heard, and it takes way too noisy. So let's see here what to add. We have these. So these we want to add, of course. Let's add them. Might be way too much already, but let's not take too much into account while we write now. Right, we have these bells. These would be really nice in the prep phase, I think. Oh, I can't use a trackpad. Let's see here. let's do the G one, and we can add the other one. And let's take these down in pitch. Oh, they are pitched because they were in a different pitch originally. Let's take them down to 5 maybe. There we go. And do we want to have them in the in the main? Yeah, I think so. Let's add those. Fade it out a little bit faster in the prep phase. There we go. Let's go back to the combat. Let's add both of these here now then. We are going all over the place adding stuff. And there we have the minor third. That's nice. And then let's add the melody maybe. And the chords. We have duplicates of these now. That might actually be fine. Sure. Sure. I feel like we're just gonna add these. And then we're just back to back to the place we started. So let's compare them then, maybe. This is the prep phase. I mean, there's a difference. Let's say that that's fine for now. And let's try to actually build a transition. In this plan, we have this mid-intensity loop, and then we have the transition that leads up to the comment. And I mean, in my mind, it should be able to come pretty like at any place. So it should like shock and then build up, and then we're there in the next loop. That's the theory, at least. Let's try that. That's pretty good. Let's say that we move this. Give me space. Let's say that this is the start. Transition. Cool. Let's take what we have, of course. We can add just a short. That's nice. So in my mind, if I'm picturing this, we will have one bar of transition to the next part, but not necessarily all instruments do the same thing. So I'm thinking that we kind of drastically change out the drum part. If I'm picturing this in FMOD, the other parts could play on, maybe. and the drums get changed immediately. So in that sense, we kind of only need the drum part and maybe like because the tumbi here is not being used in the low intensity part. So we can have like a riff or something with the tumbi leading up to the one in the next part and being like the bridge to the next. Oh, and let's make them really grow there as well. All instruments are different in how much response. Yeah, that's nice. Like, I'm thinking we can use all the instruments that are not used in the first part to like bridge the gap a little bit. That has a natural like swelling. Would be nice to like maybe. I think we need like another like damage, maybe a cymbal. Let's copy this. I mean, obviously that release is stupidly long, but that's fine. So this cluster sounds like and would work as a build up, obviously. That gong is never ending. So for up, it's kind of natural to think that it kind of just fills up, and down it's more, maybe we just like boom and we just let it ring. We don't have that ticka 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 ticka. We just do a hit on one and then we kind of end it there. Let's try that. Let's do this after the combat loop, and we would make off all of these. And here we don't have that. We kind of remove that gong. It's gonna drive me crazy. Let's see. And we just do like doom. I'm also getting harassed by my trackpad that I'm not used to working with. Well, at least we have one beat of that. And obviously we don't have that then. So let's hear them transition up. Transition down. That's pretty nice. We have our combat prep phase. We have an additional layer for that. We have an execution phase. We have a transition up and a transition down. Let's try and export this and just try it out in like FMOD. So we make sure they render to AMAPP exports. Their name will be the cluster name, which is fine. Stereo vav is fine. We don't point tail. We don't need an OGG file. Let's see the stats. Let's save them and we render all. Oh, so I realize a mistake here. I obviously want the transition up to have a reverb tail that's long enough for the gong to ring out, of course. Otherwise, we will be in trouble. Let's do it there because everything should be totally quiet. And for the transition down, let's do the same. Do it until it should be completely silent. There we go. Let's overwrite the existing files because we already, these are kind of the first export of this anyway. Render selected. Okay. And we see that we get these exported as we set them for export. So let's add these files to the FMOD project. So let's make it every bar because I don't think it's going to be necessary for it to have to be like instantly. And let's open a rift in the time-space continuum. So we need to make sure, as I said earlier, that we can separate the drums from the other stuff when we transition. So let's make a new layer. Drums, and we remove these. So if we listen to the actually, let's remove. Okay, let's see here. On the prep phase, we want the bells. And on the drum phase, we want to remove everything that's not the drums. There we go. Cool. And let's rename this layer 1. And I want to change one thing here. Let's make sure that the first beat of all these are pretty distinct. Okay, let's render all because we changed stuff. Well, we didn't change anything. Let's just render all. It's easier, just refresh it. So for the layers that are here, let's replace them. So the idea here then is that we want to like keep these layers in for as long as possible, but not the drums. So it's not perfect, but it kind of works the way I intended. So like when you're in the execution phase, you have this calm, almost waiting thing where the melody doesn't really kick off. And then you transition into the execution and then you can go between them. And a nice little side effect of actually not having the drums start playing directly is that it gives it a little bit of a feeling, which is kind of nice. So I actually don't know at the moment what kind of parameter we would connect it to, but let's say if you want to have a very clean and say that you place a couple of cards and it's getting closer to the combat. We can fade the synths in. Pretty nice. I mean, I must say the process of using AMAPP for this is actually really, really nice. Both as an organizational tool and now, I mean, the way I did it now, which was more horizontal in that sense, a little bit vertical with layer 1 and layer 2 here. It's very nice to quickly listen to them, to the layers, to the clusters, and make sure that what you're exporting is actually what you're hearing. And even in FMOD, when I was like, right, I want to change this because I forgot this, it's really, really, really fast to just go back and export everything and continue working, which is really, really nice. So I think this was a good session. Both loops should be getting longer. I think it's a good start. I think it's a very good start for like vibe of changing between high and low intensity. And I want to add verticality to at least the prep phase because there are 4 different playable characters and I would love to have different instruments play depending on what character you are using. So if you're using all 4, then all 4 instruments are getting played. Maybe they are getting played randomly and being triggered sequentially, or they have different additional layers. So maybe as we heard the synth layer, the layer 2, maybe that's kind of the vibe. Maybe we connect 4 different of those kinds of layers to different characters and different instruments and have them add in when they're all present. We'll see what the future entails for that. But for now, it's just a really nice session and it's a good workflow to be working like this because you know exactly what you're doing and exactly what you're going to export. And I really like it. Thank you for now. If you actually made it this far, obviously you get a gold star. Well done. The last time I recorded an outro for one of my videos, we were in the cold winter, but now it's actually getting pretty nice here with some Swedish spring, which is nice. If you like my content, please like, comment, share, you know what they say. I'm still figuring out what I want to do with this content, but there are sure to be more game audio / music videos coming up. So take care, stay hydrated, and see you next time. Bye bye.